Thank you so much for joining, all of you, right on time. So before we get into it, I just want to give a basic introduction of the format. I'm sure all of you have seen the show, all of you have loved it, and just to kind of remind. So we have an esteemed panel of three members today, and we have three, what you could call participants who will be pitching in great technologies to be pitched in by their sales leaders. So before we go in, I want to introduce the panel that we have today, starting with Mr. Ben Thakur. Sir, everyone knows you in this industry. You've been an inspiration for a long time. I don't know if you remember me. We met a couple of times in TechServe and a couple of other events. Yeah. So a basic introduction about Mr. Thakur. Ben Thakur started his career building next-generation technology for world-class companies. He enjoys building talent-based organizations and maximizing the potential of people, process, and technologies. Besides thinking about the future of work solutions, he likes being outdoors and learning new things. So I'm hoping that today is also a new thing for you. You're having fun.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Right. Moving on, we have Christine with us. Christine is responsible for the growth and expansion of Central and West US region and leading national strategic projects at Hayes. This is the latest function in her extensive 25-year career with Hayes, where she had led the establishment, turnaround, and management of high-performing businesses across 4 continents. Welcome, Christine. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Hi, Christine.
And today's third panelist is Mr. Alok Kumar. Alok is a well-known name in the Indian staffing industry. He currently leads the staffing business of Manpower Group in India as its senior director. As a business leader, he has rich experience in IT and telecom industry, as well as where he has held various positions in companies like HCL, Bharti Airtel, and Reliance Communications. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you here. I have a connection with Bharti as well. I worked with Bharti previously. So it's my first organization. So great to have you here. Without taking up too much time of the contestants, our first participant today is Brad, who speaks a lot about the profession he's in. So Brad, I think Brad is representing DICE today here for us. I know everyone associated with this industry would already know what DICE is, but he would present his product from his viewpoint. So Brad, the floor is yours. You have around 10 to 12 minutes to put forward your pitch, and we will hear our panel give some comments as well.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen with you here.
Yeah.
Well, like they said, my name is Brad Money, and I want to say thank you, first of all, for this opportunity. I'm excited to be here. Thank you to the folks at Ceipal and ladies and gentlemen, the panel. Excited to share DICE with you and where we've come from and where we're headed. So if it's okay with you, we'll get right into it. Who is DICE? And today, DICE is the leading career destination for tech experts at every stage of their career. Whether you have a job, you need a job, you're open to a new opportunity, you're an employer seeking information on the tech industry, DICE is a resource for all of those things. But while that's true today, I think it's important to start with our roots, because DICE has been the trusted partner for tech companies just like you for the last 30 years. Right here, I've got Data Processing Independent Consultants Exchange, DICE. That's what DICE started as 30 years ago in 1990. I did a Google search for that phrase, and it pulled up this old telnet dice.com page all the way back from 1997. As you can see, gives you a little bit of what the site used to look like, but that's still 7 years later than when DICE actually began. And I think it's important to understand where we came from. So if you allow me to, I'd like to paint you a picture. It's 1990. It's a beautiful sunny day in Santa Clara, California. You're a tech professional. You've just arrived to work. You walk in the building, and in the lobby, you notice to the right, there's a bulletin board. Now, when I say bulletin board, I mean old school elementary room push pin corkboard bulletin board. And covered all over this bulletin board are job postings. And that is how Dice started 30 years ago. So that takes us to right now. What has Dice done these last 30 years to maintain your trust? And what do we do? Well, today we provide your recruiters access to large quantities of quality tech resumes. We provide your recruiters access to large quantities of active tech resumes. But most importantly, we do both of these things faster than anybody else in the industry. How does Dice do that? Well, we understand the tech professional. Why are they on our site? What are they looking for on our site? And how do they want you to communicate with them on our site? For example, I've included here an unemployment chart that compares general U.S. unemployment to tech unemployment. If you were to ask any of my competitors, what's the unemployment rate? They may say 9% or 10% or 11%, depending on their marketing teams and what they've read, and they wouldn't be wrong. But unfortunately, however, for you and your business, they would be wrong because you need tech professionals. And the tech unemployment rate right now is around 4%. And for most hard to find tech skills, it's closer to 2%. So understanding why these folks are on our site is a huge priority. They're not here because they're part of the 10% where they need a job. They have this job already. However, they know their skills are highly sought after. They know that they're in high demand. So if this job is out here and it has something that's a little more than what they have now, what are they looking for? Is it more money? Is it better benefits? Is it less travel? In today's world, is it work from home? That's a huge one. And then now that you know why they're here and what they're looking for, how do you communicate? They want you to communicate personally. The message of I've got a job, let's talk, that doesn't work anymore. They have a job, so they don't want to talk about that. They want to know what about your job could be different or better than the one they have. And if that lines up with what they're looking for, they're going to love to talk to you, okay? Now, on top of that, we recently did a study that compared all of our candidates in our database that have been active in the last 30 days. Out of all of those candidates, only 20% had been active. You can find exclusively on Dice. 20% are on Dice only. Now, when you talk about the next 45%, they're on Dice and one other platform. So 65% of candidates that are active right now, you may be missing if you don't have Dice as a partner. Now, we've talked about where we came from, who Dice is, what Dice does. The most important part and exciting part is the future. Why Dice? Dice right now is in the process of evolving from a job board to a career marketplace. And it started with promoting recruiter discoverability and transparency. Each of your recruiters on our site right now has their own recruiter profile with their picture, their title, their content, and an About Me section that says this is what I specialize in as a recruiter. This is my history. These are the positions I'm working on, positions I may be working on soon. And then on top of that, what career fairs are they going to be at, virtual or physical? Anything you need to know about this recruiter, you're going to find it. And what we've discovered recently is that the recruiters that have this completed profile have seen a significant spike in their people replying and getting back to them. From here, we're going to move on to enable real-time communication and connections. We already established that Dice delivers quality and quantity faster than anybody else. We're going to go even faster than that. In the next month and a half, we're going to roll out instant messaging. So your recruiters are going to be able to see who's live on Dice right now and communicate instantly via instant messenger to begin with, and later on, hopefully voice over IP to connect instantly for a conversation. Once we wrap that up, we're going to enhance the candidate profile. We're going to go beyond skills and titles to show you a 365-degree look of who this candidate is, how do they fit into your culture, and how do they fit into your organization. And then finally, we're going to improve the existing community feature. We're going to add networking. We're going to add groups. We're going to do things that will allow you to connect and interact with these tech professionals in ways you haven't been able to do up to this point. And in closing, I just wanted to say thank you again. Again, I work with our new business partners in staffing and recruiting. If you feel like Dice is something that would be helpful to you or your organization and you'd love to have a conversation with me, I'm happy to take all calls or emails. And if I'm not the right point of contact, get you to who that point of contact is. But again, I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful to be here. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
We are not able to hear you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Brad. That was great. Now we open up the floor to the panelists. Anything that you liked about the presentation, anything that you would want to see more of it from DICE, Brad would be happy to listen to your feedback. We'll start with
I don't mind going first.
Yeah, Christine. Yeah,
Sorry.
loud.
Sorry, I didn't know if we were doing things in order or whatever, but I suppose just a couple of questions. Really great presentation. Thank you for that, Brad, and with the appropriate surname. And I suppose just one comment. I'm going to get my nitpicking out of the way first. At the very beginning, you talk about what DICE does, and I suppose my only nitpicking is to personalise it from talking about quality and active resumes to professionals. I'm just nitpicking. I just think it comes across better. You talk about, I'd like to ask you a bit more about your enhancing the candidate profile. I'm just going to go straight into that. So is this, the purpose of this is to personalise the people more, make them stand out? The biggest thing that in the recruitment world we have is that a piece of paper is just a piece of paper or an online resume. And so therefore you always need to have a human to be able to talk about people's behaviours, to investigate their culture fit. Is addressing some of that the purpose of your enhanced candidate profile, and how are you going to do that?
It is. That's a big part of it. And with a lot of the virtual changes that are happening now and coming, we think it's important to personalize this as much as possible. So instead of take people from just that piece of paper. One of the things we learned with talking with these tech professionals is that when your recruiters reach out to them, they want to be able to just add that validity to verify who they are, right? That this is somebody who really has a real job and is wanting to talk to them. So we're going to add the ability for them to put an about me section that goes beyond just their resume and their skills, right? They'll have their picture. They'll have a more detailed workplace preferences. So you can kind of see how they would fit into your office, right? And that's the start. And then, does that answer your question?
Yeah. You're digging deeper than just the standard mission statement or executive summary, and you get them to talk about what exactly they're looking for in their workplace, the sort of questions you'd normally ask in a one-to-one interview.
Yeah.
Will you have a proper structure behind that with specific questions? Otherwise, you might get all sorts of answers that might be irrelevant for us to read.
Yeah, it's going to be a platform. So they'll have things to choose from. Like we have one of our sister companies that we run is called Clearance Jobs. It focuses on U.S. professionals with security clearances. And we've been running this way on that platform for probably the last 5 years. And they go through and they pick out their preferences. Is it this or this? Is it this or this? Or is it in the middle? There's like a choice that they get to make that kind of helps you see more about their personality.
Okay.
You're right. It's not just open platform for them to put whatever they want to.
And I promise I'll finish in a minute so that the others get a look in. But so have you thought about how much time that will save, a recruiter? Like, have you looked at any studies about if you have that information already, so when the recruiter comes to speak to them to qualify them for any positions or any suitable clients that they can approach for them, have you actually looked at a percentage time that will save or out of a typical qualification call? Because I think that would be quite a compelling stat, because it means that speed to market's quicker.
We do, and I can get you that information. That's something our marketing team has definitely done research on. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you. I'll let others speak now.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So, Brad, I would like to go second. So, first and foremost, thank you. I've been a customer of Dice for 21 years. In fact, from my limited bank balance when I started the company, Dice was the first check I wrote. And at that point of time, I definitely, saw the value that Dice brought in, which is high quality technical talent. The demand from staffing companies right now is to be able to build curated talent pools. What is it that Dice is doing to make the recruiter's job easier so that you present very highly curated talent?
Sure. One of the things we're doing is partnering with companies like Ceipal. I love Ceipal. When it hit the market and a lot of my customers started using it, I got a demo on it just probably a month ago. It was my first chance to actually get to see it. It's one of the few platforms out there that actually enhances Dice. It takes what we do that everybody loves as our filtering system that are market and industry specific, and it enhances those, right? So it allows you to really drill down and find an even deeper candidate profile that's more accurate. But beyond that, we're coming as part of this career marketplace is the network, where you'll be able to build those kind of connections within the Dice set. You can start on your recruiter profiles talking about jobs that are upcoming that your network can see and those kind of things. It's going to allow you to really kind of get ahead of it and stay in front of people and start building that pipeline of talent. That's the word we use around here all the time is talent pipeline, and keep that going. And that's what I'm telling a lot of my partners right now. Listen, I understand what's going on in the world. The tech industry has been least affected by this in the U.S., aside from government, right? So these jobs are going to explode as soon as this thing starts going the other way. Now is the time you need to, like you said, be building that pipeline. And that's why we're making these changes right now, so that when everything, hopefully Q1 starts heading north to the other direction, we're already ready to go, right? We're not catching up. We're coming alongside you and making it easy to connect.
My second part to my question is, in my past life, I was an IT consultant myself. So what is it that you are doing to enrich, my learning experience? Like some of your competition has gotten into learning and offering learning as well as certifications, which are mostly complementary. What is it that Dice is doing to enrich the skills of the candidates?
We actually had a partnership with a learning program, and it just never took off. And when we communicated with the tech professionals, they were more interested in information. So we created a salary calculator and a lot of good content that comes from industry experts, probably like yourself, that they can read to see, okay, if I add this skill to my tool belt, what kind of change can I expect in my salary? What kind of certification do I need? And those kind of things. So it's something I can definitely pass on. We're in a position right now where our product team is all ears. And if you think, especially for a partner your size, that having learning would be helpful to your organization, that's something they'd love to listen to and bring a solution. And that's what a lot of the changes we've made recently have come from partners like you. And that's an exciting time for us, is that we've never been as agile as we are now to be able to add these enhancements and kind of customize it the way we do.
Sure. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Pleasure to meet you.
Thanks, Mr. Nagin. Go on.
So really nice presentation, and good to hear from Ben that he has signed his first check to Dice. So that's a good one. And there is no doubt the presentation what you have given from job board to career marketplace and things like instant messaging and all. These are really some good things to hear. My question, Brad, is from a different perspective, not from the client perspective. I want to understand from a candidate perspective, how Dice is different from competitors. You have shown those graphics that, okay, it's most of the 20% of the population is only with Dice, and if the companies are not working with Dice, then they are missing a large population. So I want to understand from the different perspective, what is there for the candidate which Dice is offering, which no other competition is offering to the candidates, and how is the experience? How you are planning to how you plan to enrich their experience, find a job?
Absolutely. The biggest thing is data integrity. More than anything, when I was a kid, my grandpa, we were getting gas one day and he was telling me that the most valuable resource in the world, I was 7, was oil. And he said when he was a kid, it was gold. And he said when my kids are kids, it's going to be information. And I had no idea what he was talking about, but he couldn't have been more accurate. They come to us because they trust us with their information. We've taken steps to protect their information. We've eliminated over 1 million fake profiles from our site in the last year. We've started cracking down on companies that we identified were responsible for putting that fake content on our site, trying to take advantage of customers like you. So they trust us with their information and they know that kind of history. So think about it. If you're in high demand and you put your resume everywhere, can you imagine the number of phone calls and emails that you're going to get? So the reason they come do it with us is because they don't want all the noise. They want the good noise. So their thought process is if they put their resume on our site with their contact info, any phone call or email they're going to get, it's going to be from the market leader, somebody in the industry that has a real technology job, that understands what's going on, and that job, they're there because they want a better job. And for a better job to find them, DICE gives them that best opportunity. And that's why they come to us. And that's surveying that we've done with those tech professionals, and they've said that. So.
Right. Okay. Thanks, man, for taking up the questions. Thanks to the team. I think Adnan has been waiting patiently. Adnan, I think it's time for you to start off. Adnan is a global sales leader from imocha. I think it's better you introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Just let me quickly share my screen. Just let me know if my slide is visible to you.
Yeah.
Great. So I'll start my presentation with a quote by Steve Jobs. It says that I have learned over the years that when you have really good people, you don't have to baby them. By expecting them to do great things, you can get them to do great things. Hello, everyone. This is Adnan from imocha, an AI-powered digital skill assessment platform. As a company, our vision is to be synonym for skill assessment. So this is a picture slide. Please don't go on Google and search for this as of now. We are working towards it, and I'm going to explain what is that we are working towards our vision to be a synonym for skill assessment. It's more like photocopies to Xerox. That's how we are working towards in the next couple of years, that we want to be the skill synonym for skill assessment. The reason I quoted Steve Jobs in the initial presentation slide was because we know for a reason that Steve Jobs was a perfectionist, and because of this quality, he was able to build Apple. And why he was able to build Apple, which is where it is right now, is because he had great people. And at imocha also, we believe that for companies, the crucial part is to hire right talent, right? Like Brad also mentioned, stating that, it's getting challenges for companies to hire the right talent, where they try from their perspective to give you the right candidate. Our perspective is that, whenever you hire any candidate, they should be fit for the job. The problem that as a company that we are trying to solve is we help companies to quantify the skill proficiency of candidates in the ever-changing skill era. So when we talk about ever-changing skill era, it's more towards skill economy, because we have seen in current times, with a lot of innovation happening, with a lot of new product adoption happening in the companies, the skill required for that is changing continuously. So at imocha, we help companies to quantify the skill proficiency and build winning teams. We have get together here to discuss about what staffing companies go through, or what are the pain areas that the talent acquisition team usually goes through. These are the few of the highlights that I have highlighted on my slide from a perspective of the key pain areas that an HR as a function goes through while they're hiring for a particular profile. That ranges from the dependency on a hiring manager or a technical folks to create the assessment for the profile that they're hiring for. They have challenges with regards to interview logistics. They have challenges with regard to the time they spend on shortlisting resumes or getting the feedback from a client or from internal stakeholders, making sure that there are no unfair means while the test is being conducted from a proctoring perspective. They also have to work on detailed analytics so that they create the right job funnel and provide data to their seniors to make a right decision moving forward. And at the end, one of the most, how to hire quality talent faster. Now, at the Interview Mocha, the solution that we provide for companies is on recruitment side. We help companies to hire candidates from campuses, from universities, for lateral hiring, for technical and functional hiring as well. We also have help companies for learning and development. Well, that is one part of it, because while we are helping a company to hire a right candidate for a particular profile, we understand that what could be the job skill proficiency of that candidate once he joins in a company. There are a lot of things that we do from a perspective of upskilling and reskilling by providing a lot of details to our clients so that they map their training programs accordingly. We at imocha are also integrated with a lot of platforms like Check and Upgrade, which provide certification programs. So that talks about the kind of assessments that we provide, that Check and Upgrade are currently using our platforms, our assessments to give certifications to people who go through courses on their platform. Now, I'm sure everybody here on the panel knows and must have used some kind of a skill assessment in past. It's not something new. There are already a lot of players which are currently in the market. How is that we differentiate ourselves from the competition is based on these three things. One is on library, platform, and consulting, and I will elaborate these more. When I talk about one of the key challenges that talent acquisition team faces is how to create an assessment for a particular profile that they're hiring for. Now, creating an assessment is a craft. Not everybody can do it. So talent acquisition team usually runs into the business and asks them to create an assessment, which again gets a challenging task. So what we have done as a service perspective is we don't want our customers to run, or the people who are going to use our platform to run to create assessments. We provide them to, we currently in our platform, we have 2,000 plus ready skills available. When I talk about 2,000 plus skills available in our platform, they are spread across technologies, they are spread across job roles, domains. Companies using our platform just have to log into the platform, take in the assessment, give it to the candidates, and they have the results in front of them. The best part about the assessments that we have created, they are as per EEOC compliant, and we work with 500 plus SMEs across the globe, and the SN plus SMEs across the globe, and the assessments are created as per the industry benchmark. So it takes a lot of effort and the burden from the talent acquisition team and the business, to create an assessment. We have taken that and we have already created, and this is what we are following to our vision statement, where we are saying that moving forward in another couple of years, we'll have more than 5,000 plus ready skills available in our platform. That's how it will reflect on our vision statement, that we will be synonym for skill assessment. The second part, which is the most important part from the platform perspective. Now, in assessment as a market, if I have to talk about, platform is more like a commodity, right? Every player out there in the market has certain USPs, has certain features. If today I'm going to build a feature, probably in next couple of months, my competition will build that. Same is the case with us as well, until unless you are not patenting any technology. Now, at Interview Mocha, while we have a lot of features from a perspective of platform perspective, which are currently required, we have patented certain technologies from a question type which no other competition is currently available in the market, which basically helps companies to check the logical capabilities and the problem-solving capabilities of the candidate. And the reason of that patented technology, that we have seen that most of our clients are using that particular question type. And from the platform perspective, we also understand for a talent acquisition team, right? While they're working on a lot of stuff, how is that we can make their job easy? Now, for staffing companies, if I have to talk about, they have to cater to a lot of customers. As a company, we are readily API available. We can integrate with any of the ATSs, which most of the companies do use currently. So we make the life of the team much easier. All they have to do is just integrate our platform with their ATS, and for any of the clients or for any of the profiles that they're hiring for, everything will be automated. and they just have to use one platform, the ATS that they're currently using. So they don't have to even come back to my platform to check for the reports and stuff like that. And also one of the key factors and the USP is from the report perspective, because like in any assessment, we just don't give you insights that whether a candidate has passed or failed, how much he has scored. We give you a detailed skill matrix proficiency of a candidate, which is a skill meter, which actually talks about on the current job role that you're hiring for, what are his strengths on the different sections of different sections for which are required for that particular job role. So it gives you detailed insights about a candidate, and you can make a data-driven decision whether you have to go ahead with this particular candidate or not. Saves a lot of time, and we have seen while the companies use these kind of detailed analytic reports, hiring to joining ratio has reduced drastically. The last is from a consulting perspective and a service perspective. It is very important. So for enterprise specifically, whenever we work with enterprise, we have a dedicated customer relationship manager, and we have an account manager, which works as the extended part of your team. The reason to have such kind of a service for our companies is to make sure that we keep on providing consulting from a perspective of what are the newest technologies, what are the key skills that are required for those technologies. How should you go for a particular drive? How should the assessment be created? How should the jobs be created? And also sometimes from a consulting perspective, we help companies to custom create the content based on the profile that they're hiring for. Now, for a particular company, we have been assisting more than a year now. They come back to us because they have to adapt to new age technologies, or they have to digitally transform themselves. They come back to us stating that, okay, these are the new profiles and these are the technologies that we want to hire for. Can you custom create the content? And this is what we want people to have skills on. So as a consulting thing, we custom create the content based on their requirement, and we make sure that they hire the best candidate available out there in the market. These are the few of our customers that we have worked with. And I would like to end my slide with this last quote by Jim Collins. Great vision without great people is irrelevant. And in current scenario, we do understand for every enterprise company, they have a vision. And we want to support them by helping them getting the right talent across so that they are able to achieve their vision. And that's pretty much from me. You can reach out to me at my mobile number or at my email ID mentioned out there. Thanks a lot, everyone, for giving me time. That's it from me.
Thank you, Adnan.
Yeah. Just last thing, we have recently rebranded ourselves. Earlier we was Interview Mocha. Now it's imocha. So that was the last insight from me. Thanks a lot, everyone, for your time.
Right. Thanks, Adnan. Team, if you do not mind, can we start with Ashish, who's our third panelist, and then we can take the questions, all the questions post that. I think we're running out of time. Right. Thank you. I think Ashish is our head of North America sales for Dotin Inc., one of the most or the innovative solutions that you'll hear today. Up to you, Ashish.
Thank you very much, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. And in the next few moments here, I'd love to tell a little bit about the story, a little bit about our IP, and then have the format in terms of question and answer. So I'm sharing my screen. I hope that you guys can see the application window here. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So the journey began for us in 2014. Dotin was started by our founding team of Ganesh Iyer and Sanjeev Ukkalkar, who both were alums from Cisco. And while building a billion-dollar business in Cisco, they had several issues with regards to trying to put teams together. And they would find talent from top schools, top companies, that would come together, and somehow these great minds would just not gel. And there was something else that was needed. They had tried assessments that are out there on the shelf, the typical Myers-Briggs and pen and paper, all the different attributes out there, and still they were finding there's some, something missing there. So that was the burning pain point that then started the process of building what today is the most authentic way to understand people. And so what we did for those first 3 years were building base models with a core team of mathematicians, data scientists, and psychologists coming together to find ways to understand people in the most authentic way. The first product that came out was our 1-minute workplace personality assessment. And this assessment was actually unique because it instead of asking questions, actually used a very innovative process where we understood patterns around people, specifically around certain color choices people like. An assessment product was developed whereby in 1 minute, by selecting galleries images, an individual's personality types, so working style, learning style, dominant and compatibility attributes were derived. And from that standpoint, we also developed an IP around writing style. So we started to analyze how people wrote and figured a way out to take a resume and understand personality from that aspect. So these kind of core IPs were patented, defended, and we're able to get into some pretty innovative programs, including the Capstone program from Columbia University, which helped us to kind of develop and defend this IP over the next couple of years. Then the last couple of years were in market, where we developed the business-to-business SaaS AI talent analytics platform, where we focus on sourcing, leveraging a database of 480 million passive candidates, screening, which is our 1 minute personality assessment checkpoint, and our resume passive scan, where we can take bulk and batch resumes, enhance them, and prioritize them based on both their cultural attributes and the technical skills. And we also develop programs in terms of upskilling and engaging, where we built a smart advisor model, which helps to map the aspirational path of an individual and then identify what courses through a catalog would actually fit based on not only their technical skill component, but also some of the soft skills that are needed. But I'd like to focus a little bit on the sourcing piece, because I think this adds an incredible value. And specifically, some of the key business outcomes that we've been able to drive. And so the one attribute of bringing this efficiency, leveraging AI prioritization, has driven down cost per hire. By identifying and aligning the right candidates early in the hiring process, we found 91% accuracy in terms of removing the unfit talent. But more importantly, we've seen with that alignment, there's a mutual value proposition here. And that's where retention is driven. And not only that, we were able to work with some of our partners and find that when you find that right alignment, that ideal model or that kind of North Star, the ultimate top line growth or productivity was impacted. So this became a very powerful value proposition. And specifically, that led us to kind of broaden the scope. And so we have built a passive candidate sourcing technology. And it's important to understand passive candidates a little bit. So taking a step back, 85% of the global talent pool would be considered passive. And in that group, there are, even 15% of those that are warm, looking in their network, and 45% are even open to speaking to recruiters. So this was kind of an aha for us, where we decided to compare that to the typical active candidate pools, which are competitive. It's 15% of the talent, and generally the best talent out there is employed. So that's where we began to create this capability that helps a recruiter, one, expand their talent pool. 85% of the global pool would be available with our database of 480 million profiles. And not only that, identify the values that matter. And these values need to be aligned to what's ideal for the role, but also looking at beyond the role at who might be a good fit in terms of the remote work cases, showing resilience. And most importantly, this strategy can be a massive cost savings in terms of talent acquisition. So the way the system works is effectively we take a job title and description. And what we're doing is we build an ideal model. We enhance that job title and description with industry standard context for a particular role, then project that into our database, pulling back a prioritized list of candidates. Now, these candidates are prioritized based on their cultural alignment. That's their working style, their learning style, some of their dominant personality traits, their technical alignment. So that's how their particular profile or resume matches to the requirements of the role. But more importantly, we can even look at their team alignment, because if we understand the dynamics within a corporation, for example, and within their BUs and team structure, now we can actually project that level of fitment. So it gives an ability to find very deep prioritization, but not only that, we'll give cues in terms of how best to engage and identify on a global level who might be able to work from home based on a model that we've created around resilience. The insights are important because here you can see in a summary view for each passive candidate, their top working styles, learning styles, their workplace values, so the overall cultural value maybe that they're bringing to the team. And even beyond, we can find ways to motivate them through incentive programs and also looking at ways to develop custom engagement, learning style, cues, how to communicate verbally, in person, And it's important to call out that all of our models are based on industry standard. We want to stay compliant. So when we look at recommendations around jobs and ideal models, we leverage ONET, which is a database put out by the United States Department of Labor. It basically allows us to amplify a particular job description, but also ensuring that we're calibrated to a particular taxonomy, if you will. We also look at how somebody communicates. And this is important because by understanding where you have potential different styles of communication, there could be proactive approaches into how best to work with a team. You can also customize things like learning programs, and you can also give cues to practitioners and even and managers as well. We also leverage, and to get that point, we're leveraging Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, which has been around for many years. Again, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just extrapolating and building in deeper models. For example, we use Holland's occupational insights to identify what particular path an individual personality might fit. And this is used a lot in industries in career counseling, for example. The customers are across several verticals, and our solution has definitely been adopted at scale. We've been very lucky to go through some key accelerators and really hone a product that has that integrity to be future first. We've made sure all of our data is GDPR, CCPA compliant. We're also ensuring that we're not, for example, collecting leads from different sources or scraping. We're using very strong relationships that we have in place. So on a very high level, that's a little bit about us. I would love to open it up for questions, but I'm here to directly connect with anybody. My email and phone number are there. And I'll take a pause for questions.
So maybe I'll go first. My question to both of you is, how easy is it to integrate with an applicant tracking system or any online platform that recruitment agency may have developed?
So Ben, specifically from a perspective of integration, right? So what we have done is we have kept our APIs readily available in our sandbox environment. So we are currently integrated with more than 10, 15 partners from an ATS perspective, LMS perspective. And at the same time, from an online perspective, like I said, we are already integrated with Chegg, and we recently integrated our platform with Upgrad. Now, in Chegg specifically, how is that we are integrated? It is not co-branded, but from the back end, any of the tests that a particular candidate has to give, it is powered by Interview Mocha. And now in ATS, for example, Ceipal, we are already integrated with Ceipal. So it also happens from a perspective of usability, what the customer's requirements are, what kind of reports, what kind of details they want to integrate, what kind of automation they want to do through an API integration, that can be done. However, there are certain times where companies have built their own ATS system. In that regards, we have an in-house API team, and we discuss with our client team, and we get the stuff done. For an API integration where it's an in-house integration to be done, it takes time, anything between 1 to 2 months time to get it done.
Great. Ashish, can we hear from you about your integration capabilities?
Yes, absolutely. So first and foremost, our integration with Ceipal is definitely one example of a very seamless marriage. But beyond that, we do also have APIs that are built, and we can start with even out-of-the-box or lightweight integrations with URL redirects, all the way through to a deeper integration into the HCM, depending on what information, what prioritization, and really what outcomes, what reports that are needed. We can go pretty customized at that point.
Great. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, hi Adnan. Hi Ashish. Very nice presentation of imocha as well as dots by Ashish. Thanks for that, and some very interesting insights from imocha. I have a question for you, Adnan, and then Ashish can also add on this. What I could feed, what I could take from your presentation, there was we have seen there is a awareness of candidate, which is already covered, then application and selection is as a next phase. This was covered. What was probably I could not get or it was missing is onboarding or the post-selection support of the candidate. So do you also have something like a post-selection support for the candidates for the companies? And second, in terms of most of the staffing company, because Adnan, you mentioned on the that your solution is also for the staffing company.
Yes.
So I'm not only for POM. So do you have as a value add or as an add-on? Do you also have something like attendance tracking or a real-time tracking of field sales or these kind of FOS kind of profile? So
Okay.
these are my two questions.
Alok, I'll answer your first question with regards to specifically from what is that we have to offer from a perspective of onboarding, right? Now, we are an assessment company where we help companies to pre and post screen candidates. Pre-screening is obviously to understanding whether they have the right skills to fit for a particular job role, and post-screening is mostly on upskilling and reskilling. Onboarding is something that we don't have as of now, right? So, but we have stuff which caters from all the interview aspects. Multiple rounds of interviews can be done through our platform. Specifically from a technical perspective, I have to talk about that is, I'm sure, address the question that whether we have anything on the onboarding system. The second thing, from a staffing company perspective, we have one of the unique features which I would like to connect with you and showcase it to you, because we understand from a perspective of staffing companies working with multiple clients, right? Now you have to provide a lot of data to the client stating what is happening from a recruitment perspective with regards to setting in the candidate. It gets very tedious, right, for your team to get all the details and have stuff like that. So what we have something called as reviewer role or reviewer settings, where we can have somebody from that particular client continuously engaging with you or engaging for a particular profile that you're hiring for. And from the sales perspective, if you're talking about real-time tracking, there's nothing like that as of now. It's a pure assessment platform.
Okay, thanks, Adnan, for clarification. Thank you.
Great. And from the dotin side, so we start at the pre-targeting level as well. And as we even gain insights for that first batch of 200 returns, we'll start to shortlist by looking at filters that are important. So we'll give the ability to do some secondary filters. For example, looking at who might have the qualities of resilience in terms of remote work cases. That's an example. We can also look at other values, so things like attention to detail and keep shortlisting. Once we get to that point, we also will deliver enhanced resumes and also pre-interview type of reports, whereby even the learning styles and incentive programs based on the core motivation of the individual can be determined. So there's a lot of value in terms of getting that initial alignment, that focus, that activation of talent. And as they start to come into the pipeline, then we start to give cues and engagement insights. And these go even beyond hiring. So for example, we can show team synergy, how different individuals work together, and not in a cookie cutter manner, but by looking at how their dominant and compatibility traits fit. This is a way to increase, say, diversity in teams and diversity in thought, but by maintaining synergy, we're also maintaining performance. So beyond that, there's lifecycle management. We can create customized learning and development. And we've partnered with Learn at Forbes to actually build a smart advisor module, which really helps to map that aspirational to baseline gap, both from an individual and from a corporation reskilling their employees. So I hope that answers the
question. Thanks.
Okay, my turn. On imocha, I didn't see much about the candidate experience in terms of customers. So obviously we know that putting someone through a recruitment process, and when you introduce skills testing, it can be quite stressful for people, especially as some people haven't taken a test for 10 years.
Right.
And so they will answer the questions in the wrong way under pressure. And obviously the most important thing for any employer is to not lose a candidate through a process.
Very right.
So what have you done to address that?
Okay.
Because as I said, I didn't see much about that in the slides. It was quite client focused.
It is one of the very important things that we had to address, because they are one of our key stakeholders. If they are not giving assessments on our platform, no company would use us, right? So we have already taken care of that. From a perspective, we do understand sometimes what happens, because every assessment player out there, every assessment platform is different, right? So what we have catered is whenever we send out or you send out an email to a candidate with regards to participating on a particular assessment, there are detailed instructions which are given to him so that it's easy for him to go through that entire assessment. And the second best part about our assessment is that we don't directly ask a candidate to jumpstart an assessment. We also give them a practice session. Now, the reason we give them practice session is to just help them to familiarize with the platform. And also in the practice session, we don't give the actual questions, which are like lookalike questions from the assessment that we have already created. That helps the candidate and gives them a confidence to get themselves familiarized. Because when you talk about from a perspective and assessment, there are a lot of things that we, as a question type, we can have. Say, for example, coding questions, technical questions. Now, on coding questions, they have to get familiarized with what kind of a coding platform is out there. So we give them practice sessions, they get familiarized with the platform, they start giving us start the actual test, and they start. And also by the end of the test, we also, capture the feedback of a candidate, which is very vital and important for the company which is using it and for Interview Mocha as well. Because we want to understand what kind of a feedback a candidate is providing from a platform perspective, from a content perspective. In a holistic view, a lot of things are taken into consideration, and based on that, we make a lot of changes on our platform if required. I hope that addresses.
That does. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And then on Dotin, I suppose what I'm curious to know first is the balance. Your platform's kind of an all singing, all dancing. It's everything from pre-employment to being employing someone. And so, but the premise of the system and assessing people would lend itself to current employee rather than the sourcing side. So I was just wondering, the customers that you currently have, what's the balance between them using it for existing populations versus attracting population in candidates?
That's a fantastic question. I think with the efficiency of our technology and the ability to bring insights into the earlier stages of the decision cycle, the pre-employment use cases are the strongest. A lot of our initial traction was with high volume use cases because especially in hospitality, where brand really mattered, for example, and customer-facing type of roles, really needed that unique aspect of personality, and the churn factor was really the challenge. As we've kind of addressed, and especially with this modern crisis, we've been able to, and by that I mean the remote work and the instant digitization of the market. We've been able to partner with some bigger players, including Salesforce with their Work.com initiative to help support the post-hire. So I'm seeing more traction there with some of these strategic initiatives, just mainly to meet the need of the hour. But for us, it's most important to, add value where we can, and through AI and efficiency, that's really at those earlier stages.
Okay, so out of the three buckets of sourcing, screening, and upskilling engagement, you're having the most success in screening?
Initially screening and then sourcing. Screening, I think, is our core competency from the start. That was the problem statement we're trying to solve. The most authentic way to screen. And our system, doesn't look at gender, race, ethnicity, facial expression, any of those, impetus points for bias. So unbiased is really the most important part of our screening. The rest of the solution set has built naturally in terms of need in the market and also opportunities through some of our accelerator initiatives.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Right. Thank you so much, panelists, or sharks as we call. This was a great, interesting discussion. Thanks so much, Mr. Thakur. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, Alok, for this conversation. Thanks, Brad, Adnan, and Ashish for taking up the mantle for your organizations and pitching them so beautifully. It's been a great conversation. Hopefully, we all can remember this, bump into each other maybe in the future.
For sure.
Right, and
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself and be safe. Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.